Shalom, Akim. First and foremost, want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Heavenly Father and His Son by their true names, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, great millstone who rule and teach well, and honors and salutations to all my Akim pushing this truth throughout the four corners where be scattered. Shalom. And the title of this video will, how will Russia's new hypersonic missile affect global arms race? Inside story. And this was published on December 28, 2019. I'm going to read this little in the description box. Russia says its new hypersonic weapon is a technological breakthrough on the scale of on the scale of Sputnik, the first satellite launched by the Soviet Union in 1957. The Vanguard is launched on top of an intercontinental ballistic missile. But unlike a regular missile warhead, it can swerve sharply, making it much harder to intercept. And this missile is really fast. You know, I think like 27 times faster than the speed of sound. Which they're gonna get in the video. We're gonna play a little bit of the video. The video is very long, but we're gonna get a little bit of it. That's worrying the U.S. That's also having to contend with China's development of hypersonic arms. All right, Beijing displayed the Dongfeng 17 at a military parade in October. The U.S. Defense Secretary has said developing the technology is a priority. All right, so will the Vanguard, which Russia says can fly at 27 times the speed of sound, change the balance of power? All right. So, and you know, America, which is Babylon the Great, its missile defense system is not gonna be able to counter that. You know, play a little bit. They pretty much
it can fly at 27 times the speed of sound. Russia says its newly deployed Avangard missile is the world leader in hypersonic weapons. So how will it affect the global arms race? This is Inside Story.
Trying to get to the point.
Hypersonic by the Soviet Union in 1957. President Vladimir Putin says the Avangard can easily bypass missile defense systems on its way to a target through sharp maneuvers. And that's worrying the US, that's also having to contend with China's development of hypersonic arms. Beijing displayed the Dongfeng 17 at a military parade in October. And the US Defense Secretary has said developing the technology is a priority. Well, President Putin says Moscow is no longer playing catch-up.
If we want to be victorious, our equipment must be better than the equipment of other countries. It's not a game of chess where we can put up with a draw. Our equipment must be the best. We can strive for that. We are striving for that in key development areas.
So let's have a closer look at Russia's new weapon. Well, the Avangard is launched on top of an intercontinental ballistic missile. But unlike a regular missile warhead, it can swerve sharply, making it much harder to intercept. President Putin says the Avangard can withstand temperatures of up to 2,000 degrees Celsius, and it can carry a nuclear weapon of up to 2 megatons. The Avangard can travel at 27 times the speed of sound. Analysts estimate that for China's new system, it's around 5 times. Let's bring in our guests.
Salaki, I can kind of pushing for time. I'll show you a picture right quick. Let me see if it's in here. Here you go. This a image of a warhead. I mean of the missile itself. You know, but it's breaking it down. The missile down. You know, the warhead number 1. I can barely see it. The pneumatic warhead separator for 2, oxidizer tank, 3, 4 is instrument section. And 5 is oxidizer fed line. Fuel tank is for 6, and Toradel compressed air tank 7. But you can see. I'm gonna let it sit up there for a minute. Let you read it. All right. And World War III is quickly approaching. Quickly approaching. You know, and get that. Get this right quick. This Jeremiah 51:29, and the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon. Babylon, which is America. All right. To make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. All right. So once the Lord get done with this place, man, it's gonna be a desert. It's gonna be a wasteland. All you gonna have over here is desert creatures. You know. Here you go. Revelation 18:8. And therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. All right. So Babylon the Great, which is America, her plagues are going to come in one day. Which is those intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right, them ICBM missiles. You know, that's how America's gonna be burned, utterly burned with fire by those missiles. You know, and those chariots, and by those chariots. You know. It had another one on here. Get this one. All right, second, and this is what I was saying about the U.S. defense system, missile defense system. They're not going to be able to counter those hypersonic missiles. 2nd Ezra 16:8. The mighty Lord Yahweh Shemel Shah send the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? The Lord is sending various plagues upon the earth. You know, which was prophecy. You know, and it's nothing Esau can do to drive them away. You know, Esau power structure. It's nothing that his Esau military can't save you. Jake, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, neither his banking system nor his Christianity denominations, his religions, and things like that he set up. You know, everything that you people run to Esau for, none of that's gonna save you. From what's to come. You know. Um, it should bring it up. Here you go. It's Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is his treasure. All right, and only the healthy elect uh uh have that fear of the Lord. You know, Yahweh. All right, because you 2/3 of Israel, you don't feel. I mean, you don't fear the Most High. All right, that's why you continue to you know to being commit abominations and sin. You know, and so trusting in Esau, power structure and trusting in Esau, that's not gonna be your stability of of the times and strength of salvation. That's not gonna save you, and you coons gonna see. Watch. All right. Had another one. Uh, it said. Let's see what it says. I might be thinking of a different one. All right, I think this one. This might be the one I was thinking about. Khan, almost spirit. Okay. We not gonna read all of it. We're gonna probably just get one through. We're just gonna get 1 and 2. Isaiah 19. Isaiah chapter 19 and 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. All right, and shall come into Egypt. All right, and that cloud, which you people call UFOs, which are chariots. All right, shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. All right, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. All right, the Americans against the Americans. All right, because America is spiritually called Egypt. Because it has the children of Israel. Which are you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in bondage, in captivity. All right. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And everything that you've been seeing happen around the globe is going to make its way over here. It's going to start occurring in the United States of America. You know, civil unrest and things like that. It's going to escalate. You know. I said I had another chapter. Okay, that was pretty much it. Let me see. They pretty much everything. This like a
Pavel Felgenhauer is
what's in the description box is pretty much like a summary of what they was getting into. Um,
defense and military analyst. He's joining us from Moscow. Tarek Rauf is a nuclear arms control specialist. He's joining us from Vienna. We have with us Paul Schultz. He's the former director. Thanks very much for being with us on Inside Story. Welcome to all of you, gentlemen. Pavel, over in Moscow, so Putin had announced this missile back in 2018. But how significant is this deployment today?
Well, it's run as with a lot of hype as a great achievement. There's a lot of kind of PR going out to the Russian public that this puts Russia #1 in the world in nuclear armaments. Though, of course, it's not a new missile per se. It's a very old missile. Actually, the missiles on which these avant-gardes are deployed are about 30 years old. They were built in the Soviet times, known in the West as SS-19, and in Russia as Ur-100 so this is an old missile with an innovative warhead, a re-entry vehicle. And yes, this is innovative. It's an important achievement. Though right now it's more, I would say, technical achievement. It doesn't really alter the balance between America and Russia in nuclear weapons.
We're going to talk about the balance of power in just a moment, but just for clarity's sake, Pavel, Russia saying that it's been put into service. What are we to read into those comments? Does it mean that it's actually operational right now, or is it still in an advanced phase of field testing?
Apparently they were tested. I mean, these things were tested in Soviet times. The development began also 30 years ago, or even 40. Now they reached deployment stage, and several silo-based missiles they replaced the original classical re-entry vehicles with this one. Of course, that means that the SS-19 can carry basically up to 6 separate warheads. When they put an avant-garde on it, it's only 1. So actually it decreases the number of warheads. That's why they're deploying just a handful, just several, because right now, they're not really military.
And the Most High, put it in the minds of these scientists, to make these bombs and whatnot, these missiles and stuff, for this very purpose.
We need it that much because America does not have a comprehensive missile defense. So there's nothing to break through much. Ordinary warheads can also reach the United States, or Americans reach Russia. So that the balance is based on that.
All right.
So this is for the future, basically.
Tarek Rauf, the key word here is hypersonic. How significant is this deployment in your opinion?
Well, it's significant in the sense that we are now starting to see a new arms race, particularly in delivery systems. Hypersonic weapons, as was mentioned, can be at least 5 times the speed of sound. The speed of sound is 350 meters per second, roughly. So these new delivery systems, particularly since they are maneuverable, and there are 2 types. There is the avant-garde, which is a hypersonic boost light vehicle, but there can also be hypersonic powered cruise missiles or powered delivery systems. So these are designed basically by Russia to counter the United States withdrawal in 2002 from the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty, which was a seminal Cold War treaty banning nationwide missile defenses. And then the U.S. has now recently abandoned the Intermediate Range Forces Treaty in Europe as well. Plus, in 2003, the U.S. came up with this concept of conventional prompt global strike, which was aimed at delivering a warhead anywhere in the world within 60 minutes of a decision being given. So the Russians, in a sense, are reacting to a number of these developments on the whole. And now with the approval of a Space Force by President Trump and funding for it given in the U.S. defense budget, we are also now moving the arms competition into space, which would be a very dangerous development.
Again, this is something I'm going to ask you about in a moment, but let's just stick with this hypersonic missile for a moment, Tarek. And some are saying that it's not so much the speed of the hypersonic weapon alone that counts, but rather it's the glide vehicle's trajectory, which quote, surfs along the edge of the atmosphere, and that then could make it impossible to defend against. So how much of a challenge is this for existing systems?
It would be a significant challenge for existing systems. The U.S. Technical.
The scriptures tell you that, those missiles is not going to miss their mark. All those missiles not going to miss their mark. Sure. See if it pops up. Alright, this is what I want. Well, I guess. Let's see. Arrows. I'll put that. Yeah. Okay. Come on, this is it. I'm gonna check the other one out too. Second Ezra 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. All right, talking about those missiles. You know, he had another one. I mean, we can get this one. Second Ezra 16:16, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Alright. And there's a lot, going on with Babylon the Great, and this whole beast system, is falling apart. Get this real quick. This top 5 countries opting to ditch US dollar and the reasons behind their move. Global tensions caused by economic sanctions and trade conflicts triggered by Washington have forced targeted countries to take a fresh look at alternative payment system currently dominated by the U.S. dollar. China. All right. I'm gonna just read the names first. China and Japan leading global dumping of U.S. sovereign debt. You got India, Turkey. I'm gonna read a little bit. And Iran and Russia. Should be the last one. All right. All right. issues. Russia has developed a national payment system as an alternative to SWIFT, Visa, and MasterCard after the U.S. threatened tougher new sanctions that would target Russia's financial system. All right. I ain't gonna really get too much in this, but you can look it up, get more info on it. I'm gonna read the first passage and then but this the top 5 countries opting to ditch U.S. dollar. All right, and the reasons behind their move. So they leaving this the U.S. currency, which is about to which is this article tells you the past year was full of events that inevitably split the global geopolitical space into two camps: those who still support support using U.S. currency as a universal financial tool, and those who are turning their back on the green back. All right, the U.S. currency. All right, and it goes into the reasons why. All right, you got, like I said, you can look into it, but I just wanted to show that a little bit because the lack of storage from the last couple videos I did, I was supposed to get this information on there. All right, in the U.S. embargo on Venezuelan oil, Russia is a clear winner. All right. All right, but we're gonna read a little bit about this. We're gonna read a little bit about this one. All right, it says in the U.S. embargo on Venezuelan oil, Russia is a clear winner. In the years since Trump administration declared what amounted to economic war against the Venezuelan government of President Nicolas Maduro, an oil embargo that cut it off from its biggest petroleum buyer, the United States, the move has yielded some clear losers. All right, including U.S. investors now shut out of the market. All right. It has also produced one clear winner: Vladimir Putin's Russia. Our U.S. officials, oil industry insiders, and analysts say secret deals between Moscow and Caracas to produce, transport, and sell oil to other markets have become a cash cow for Russia. That is earning its state-controlled enterprise is an estimate 120 million a month. The Russians describe their relationship with the South American nation home to the world's largest proven oil reserves. All right. So, America just kicked his own self down right there with that move, with these sanctions. And, got to give a round of applause to Trump, you know, as one of mutual cooperation since Hugo Chavez founded the socialist state in 1999. Russia has become its primary supplier of military equipment and advisors, a consistent supporter in international bodies, and a key source of government loans and investment. All right, but now observers say the Russians are to some extent exhorting Maduro Chavez successor, who has been boxed in by the United States. Washington is backlisting ships that transport Venezuelan crude and threatening secondary measures against any entity, including international banks and customers, that's materially assist Maduro's government. That's made Venezuela's greatest asset its oil. All right. The Russians have been willing to absorb the risk of sanctions. They are chartering vessels from third parties and obscuring the origin of the crude as they market it around the world. We're going to skip a little bit. U.S. officials and industry analysts say Russian state companies, chiefly the state-controlled oil giant Rosneft, are handling 70 to 80% of Venezuela's total oil exports. In sharp contrast to the drain on the off to the drain of the coffers. Wait, select it. In sharp contrast to the drain on the coffers of the Soviet Union, resulting from Moscow's Cold War era support of communist Cuba, today's relationship with socialist Venezuela is providing Russia with a rare opportunity to make a mint as it strengthens its foothold in the backyard of the United States. All right. That's pretty much it. It's a lot, but I encourage you to read this on your own. I'm gonna have to cut this one short for, um, you know, storage. My phone and stuff be acting up, but I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Heavenly Father and His Son by the true names, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, great millstone, who rule and teach well. And honors and salutations to my icon pushing this truth. Shalom.